The media back in meltdown mode again over the latest White House shakeup with former VA Secretary David Shulkin out. But our next guest argues in a Fox News op-ed that, quote, Trump, like Ronald Reagan, can beat back the swamp in assembling his own presidential dream team. So are these shakeups actually a good thing? Peggy Grande, former executive assistant to President Ronald Reagan, author of that op-ed, joins us live now from Los Angeles. Good morning. Happy Easter.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
Peggy, what is your thesis about all of these shakeups?
Well, I think that it's exaggerated that the White House is in crisis. Here's a man who likes change. He's a great decision maker. If he doesn't like something, he doesn't complain about it. He mixes it up. And that's what we're seeing. And some of these personnel changes are beyond his control, whether it's a personal issue with a staffer, a confirmation clog, or anything like that. We see a president who is unafraid to make change. And that's what he's doing. Ronald Reagan did the same and made changes very early on in his presidency. And so that's something that is not new to the White House.
You wrote a wonderful book about Ronald Reagan, a lot of memories in there. And when you mentioned that Ronald Reagan went through this before, what do you think is the greatest example of that?
Well, I think that Ronald Reagan, like Donald Trump, is a man of instinct, and people didn't elect the staffers around Ronald Reagan. They elected him, just like they elected Donald Trump. Ronald Reagan was a man of instinct, so whether it was the Patco strike, where he went against common sense, and a lot of people advised him differently to not fire the air traffic controllers, and again at the Berlin Wall, when he said, tear down that wall. Not only the State Department, but his own senior advisors advised him against it. But he knew it was the right thing to do, and he said it boldly, and aren't we glad that he did, because the nation was changed and the world was forever changed as well.
And he stood strong, as you say. Donald Trump was told also, don't, get into all this rhetoric about fire and fury on North Korea. Don't call him Little Rocket Man. And now we see the dictator in North Korea coming to the table. Real quick, I've got a minute left. I'm remembering as well from your book, James Baker and Donald Reagan. Didn't they switch jobs in the Reagan administration? A lot of people said that's not going to work, and that might have revived his presidency.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the original job swap, and people weren't a little nervous about that. And so all these staff changes aren't necessarily bad. We look at some of the most iconic figures in the Reagan White House, and a lot of those were the second appointees, whether it was James Baker, whether it was George Shultz, Elizabeth Dole, Ed Meese. They were all second appointees. And so hopefully Donald Trump is going to surround himself with excellent people that will give him a successful presidency moving forward.
People today seem to be shocked that a president wants to put his or her team in place. Thanks for the history lesson this morning, Peggy Grande. Happy Easter.